1, 2, 3, 4.
Cause I've been thrown, I'm falling up, I'm falling out. Can't you notice my feelings out dancing on me? Backstabbing up Meliodas. Get you on the scene, I guess you wanna notice. I'm falling out, hey Janae. Your cheesy eyes that away with me. Your dreamy looks at me face. How about we both since you wrote this? I'm falling out, 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 I'm falling out. She got me open. Benders don't work at all. They know she's not my heart. Bet this her favorite song. Reaching forward as a star. Get her understand when she gon' lie. That's just how she roll. Even making scenes to pass the time. Making fights for fun. That's what you do. No more lies. You conspire. Took on my heart and invited desire. Getting mine to exaggerate our time now. Cause if you really wanna lie, heck, let's go. I'm falling out. It's the day. Just chase the reaper away. I'm falling out. Can't you say? I'm feeling calm with no way. I'm falling out. Can't you say? I'm falling out. You're too late. I'm falling out. Can't you say? I'm falling out. What's to say? I'm the storm that meets the moon. I'm the sun that will not move. Do you think you are? Who do you think you are?
Welcome everybody to another RSCast, where this time we're only recapping everything that happened in Prospect and Challenger, and taking a look at our predictions for Rival and Elite. I'm Tevish, like always, accompanied by Kingsman and Buddha. How are you guys doing?
Well, somehow I'm still alive. I've been told by source that somehow he doesn't know I'm still going after Prospect and Challenger Grand Finals, but we'll get into that later. But apart from that, it's been a very good week. How are you doing?
I'm good. I was late because I got a good excuse. So my pet T-Rex, He ran out the front door. I had to go catch him. You know, he's always off and wandering. So that's why I was a little bit late. I wasn't doing predictions. Whoever said that, they're lying. All right, unreliable source. But the playoffs, Prospect and Challenger, was great to watch. For everyone that was there, you already know what went down. But that's what we're here for, to recap it, to reminisce. Is that a word? Yeah, reminisce the memories. Yeah. There we go. But I look forward, especially with the cheeky rival and elite predictions as well.
Yeah, so I'm already imagining here Buddha just running out the door behind his pets. Actually, just imagine Buddha running. But, like he said, let's take a look at predictions not predictions. About a recap here for Prospect, starting in the play-ins. I think most what happened here actually is kind of what we expected. Definitely in the lower brackets, Alter and Fearless Echo both getting the big results with the sweep to start off, and also just continuing with beautiful 6-0 to make it through. Kingsman, any matchups that you think, any results here that really blew your expectation?
I think the two for me that I think a lot of people didn't expect. First of all, Jabatus 3-1ing Palmis. Palmis, they went into this on a massive win streak, and Jabatus, without Jay Kuziak as well, just put a massive end to that. So I think that was a massive shock there. And I think Fearless Echo Caro, I think Buddha might have been one of the only people that had Fearless Echo going all the way to playoffs. And fair enough, they didn't even need a Game 5 to take it to game. They took it in Game 4 against Caro, and very well done to them.
And I agree with you there. I completely forgot. I thought I predicted Caro was going to win, but Buddha, your team made it through. Did you expect them to beat Caro or any other results, or didn't really expect that to happen?
Oh, I fully believed in them, but I will tell you something. Their comms are just, your average Prospect comms. We got into that first game. It was I'd never heard anything like it. On the day, they just played amazing. So they truly deserved it. They played really good. But my matchup to pick out was going to be that Jubatus and Palmas one as well. Jubatus, I think they surprised a lot of people because I think they ended up playing with, was it Jay Wrighty, I think his name is, over Jay Kuziak.
Yeah.
And obviously, Jay Kuziak, he's a veteran. He's won the tier. He's been in this situation and they've still decided to not play him. And the fact that they came out and did that, it was a great performance by them.
Definitely like the Palmas Jubatus matchup. I'm just checking what we predicted here. All of us actually predicted. Three of us predicted Palmas to win, and Kingsman was the only one who thought Jubatus was gonna win in the sweep. So he was pretty close there. But yeah, with that we had the 6 teams making it through to the playoffs, and then we also had the 2 teams that were already waiting, and like some big results here as well, some that we completely didn't expect. But going straight to you, what result was really the one that blew you away here? Because there's so many results.
You're all right. There is so many.
Yeah.
If I gotta be honest, obviously the upper bracket they were great. I mean, both game 5s. It's pretty much what you expect. It's pretty much top dogs going up against the other top dogs. But I think Terra and Jubatus, Jubatus come off really hot form. Terra are one of those teams where I think it was a roster you'd either predict to do very well or it could be a bit on the offside. But they really turned up. A 3-1 victory. They didn't even take it to that game 5. And I mean, obviously I don't want to talk about the whole bracket, but Palmas definitely made a statement. Yeah,
Palmas definitely, from losing to Jubatus to making it to that grand finals, even forcing that bracket reset against Newborn, and then Newborn just a little bit too strong. Kingsman, what about you? Any things that really blew your expectation, or was it kind of some results when you saw the teams playing, you're like, yeah, this is pretty accurate?
Well, I might have a bit of a bias, obviously because I casted the series, but Palmas, Serene Taisho. Those of you who don't know, that was a reverse sweep on the side of Palmas. Taisho were dominant in those first 2 games, and Palmas came back with a very demanding performance. It demanded a lot of them. I didn't think they had it in them. They did. They made it to the grand finals, even got the comeback on Newborn again, but Newborn were too strong in the end. But honestly, what a run from Palmas! I can only applaud them.
Yeah, I think we can all do that, because like Palmas, they were the top bracket of play-ins, knocked down by Jubatus, then making it through, and it was definitely not an easy route. Going first game 5 against Fearless Echo, which was already really close. Then game 4 against Propel, game 4 against Terra, like you said, reverse sweep against Serene Taisho, to then reverse the bracket against Newborn, and Newborn, they were just waiting there. And, well, still on game 7, so, for Newborn to lose in that game 7 to then win in a 4-0 sweep to become the Prospect champions is huge. So, obviously, still, massive congratulations to the Newborn roster for making it. And with that, we're already gonna take a look at that Prospect champion. A beautiful roster. Stingray being the GM, and then you have Gav, MM Overdrive, Specky, and Wolf being on that roster, who crowned themselves the champions there. And, I don't know if either one of you watched that grand finals, because I didn't. I sadly couldn't make it, but I truly believe a bracket reset is already immense, and then to sweep straight afterwards, after losing that game 7, what do you think went to the head of the Newborn players?
Well, I mean, considering I got to interview them after the game, I know exactly what went on in their heads. I know exactly what happened. I got the luck of casting that grand final, so
wow.
I mean, there you go. Apparently it was just for the content. They said Newborn took it to game 7 and then swept just for the content. I don't believe it. I believe Palmas really got the better hand of them. It was a brilliant first series, and well, honestly, something Palmas should be proud of them. But I think Newborn, they just turned up the heat in the second series, and well, very close games, but Palmas just didn't have an answer.
So, Buddha, do you think Newborn purely did it for the content, or was there something else?
I mean, I didn't get to watch it. I had to listen to it whilst at work, and half the time it was just Kingsman and Tom going on about issues and resets, timeouts, and Kingsman saying
Oh, the technical
and,
timeouts.
Yeah,
There was 3 technical timeouts.
That's all I was
Gav.
listening to.
Yeah, Gav's GPU was having some very fun issues, so we had 3 technical timeouts. They were, honestly, yeah, and then tactical timeouts thrown in. Honestly, I couldn't tell apart technical and tactical.
Wow. Okay, so yeah, continue.
As I was going to say, in the reset, I mean, Newborn, they just went back to themselves. I mean, Newborn just a great roster. The only one that predicted them to win. Anyway, on to Challenger, lads.
Yeah, and you know, the biggest thing in Challenger already in the play-ins that there was only one series that went to the potential of Game 4. Everything else was a sweep. Kingsman, any initial thoughts when you just see these 7 sweeps and that one Game 4?
Well, I mean, there were some demanding performances. Eclipse 3-0ing Apprentices. I don't think anyone expected that with Apprentices form this season. And obviously, everyone expected the results down below. I think the one that probably stood out for me of the one sweep was Oracle's sweeping Pardus. Getting a massive... That was just massive for them, considering they went to Game 4 with Orcus, who didn't look anywhere near as strong as Pardus, in my opinion. But still, Oracles were able to push the odds again, and, well, they kept themselves going.
So, Buddha, what about you? What of these 8 matchups with those 7 sweeps, was there anything, like, really blowing your mind?
It's just got to be Eclipse and Apprentices. Apprentices, they just didn't have the playoff ice. They really didn't. Eclipse, I don't think any of us predicted them to really go far, and they really definitely damaged us for some points. But obviously that second play-in day, obviously Gale v Kadaho, Neptunium and Kadaho, I mean, that was expected. I think we all predicted a sweep in the second one, maybe, I'm pretty sure. But the first one, I think we all put 3-0, 3-1s, I think. That was just pretty much expected. But I think the biggest upset would have been Apprentices not performing up to their true seeding potential. But other than that, I mean, wow. Just to see sweeps, double sweeps, in obviously the top seeds up there is great to see.
Yeah, and just like I said, talking about our predictions there as well. None of us predicted that it's gonna be a sweep in the upper bracket. All of us at least a Game 4 or a Game 5, but 2 sweeps there, 3 sweeps below. We had our 6 teams that moved on towards the playoffs. Obviously, Mischief, Eclipse in the staying in the upper bracket, facing off against Disorder and Feather, and then we had the other 4 teams going down towards the lower bracket. Obviously, I think the biggest one already was Eclipse. Sweeping Feather in the upper bracket was already a huge result. Any results from you, or any results that you think like really didn't and what was not expected to happen? Kingsman, to you first.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at the 2 big ones. Obviously, Disorder getting beaten by Mischief 3-2. Mischief are strong, but I don't think anyone expected Disorder and Feather to get beaten straight away, and I don't think anyone expected Apprentices to go 0-6. A massive loss for them. As Buddha said, they just clearly on the day did not have the ice, as Mock was repeated to me several times. But it's fine. They'll go to Rival next season, and I'm sure they'll have the time of their lives.
Yeah, let's hope they have the time of their lives in the Rival tier. But first, Buddha, any thoughts here about the playoff bracket for the Challenger?
I think I just had to look at Eclipse here. Just think, they didn't drop a single game until they got to that grand final. And it's a comment on the other teams that played them. Feather and Mischief just could not take a game on Eclipse. A team that I think they were predicted dark horses as well, maybe in preseason power rankings. I'm not too sure. I could be wrong, but I know they're predicted either champion or dark horse. And Eclipse really proved a lot of us wrong. And they didn't even do it closely. They swept literally Feather and Mischief. Yeah. So I think that was definitely not an upset, but just a surprise, you know. But other than that, it was a great day by Feather. You know, to get swept in that upper bracket and bounce back in that lower bracket run with 2 Game 5s is you know, very applaudable, especially to get that reset as well on the grand final.
Yeah, obviously making it to the grand final is already difficult, and then forcing that bracket reset and then afterwards winning it as well, because like 2 Game 6s in a row. Like you said, against the Eclipse roster that went 6-0 on the day, to make it to that grand finals is already huge. And then for Feather, they didn't win any matchups in first, and then game 5, 3-0 against Disorder, and then another game 5 against Mischief, who like already none of us really expect them to make it this far. Just huge result there. I think most of us, if I remember correctly, were either Feather, Apprentices, and Elves and Disorder were the 4 teams that we kind of expect to make that far. One of the 4. Eclipse was kind of maybe the 3rd team or the 4th or 5th team. So for Feather to make it that far, well, we expected that. But for Eclipse to make it that far, huge congratulations for them to make it grand final. Sadly, they lost to Feather, who are the challenger champions, and that makes it 2 here for Green Phoenix in RSC 12. Stingray, of course, being a gem and also playing himself on this roster together with Yoshi, Sasuke, and Rambo. Congratulations again to you. Well, Stingray, it's a double congratulations. He played, he won, and now as gem, he also made it. So that is the challenger tier done and dusted. 2 wins here for Green Phoenix. And now we're actually going to move on towards what we're going to predict for the next 2 tiers that are going into the play-ins, playoffs. Because obviously we had 2 done, now we're going into Rival. And Kingsman, we're starting with your brackets.
Yeah, I'm going to start in the lowers. Norns Yoruba, I have it 3-1. Obviously, Yoruba have been, I believe, brought in as one of the 7th place teams, and I think Norns just the run they've been on has been incredible. There might be a few issues that I'm not going to talk about, I'm not going to leak yet, so you'll all find out later, but then I have them losing 3-1 to Nightfall. Nightfall picking up Ares, I think, were probably one of the best moves they could have possibly made. Ares is a very good player, and he leads that roster very well, so I think they have it, again, 3-1. But on the other side, I have Anarchy sweeping Continuum 3-0. Obviously, Continuum having their issues, as seen. And I have Anarchy with the momentum, taking Mystics to Game 5 and getting a surprise Game 5 win onto Mystics and moving on. Then, going to the upper brackets, Onka Journeyman, I have Onka 3-1. I talked about it last week, it was Sinksy versus Axlos. I think Sinksy has just had a massive improvement this season. I think he'll get it. I could even see this as a sweep depending on the day. But then a Game 5, real toss of a coin here. 3-2 Sentinels. I had Sentinels having it though, because Uranium have that new roster. They're not exactly performing as maybe the old roster would have. The old roster for Neptunium with Ico, I would have backed. But the roster with Sentinels having so much chemistry, I have them just getting past Uranium. Oh, and yeah, I get to keep going. Anyway, if we continue on, Onka, Serene Meiji, Game 5. I think Onka are just going to have the edge. Once again, it's one of those which could go either way, and I think Onka will just have the strength to push it through the upper bracket. And Tizok, they've been first all season long by, I think, a decent margin. Very good fight with Onka. 2 strong teams. I see them meeting in upper finals. I think Nightfall will shock Journeyman. Obviously, Nightfall's strong, and I can see them pushing out some results. Cal is a very good player as well, alongside Ares. But then in the other lower satch, I have Uranium beating Anarchy. I think Anarchy's run, they don't have a team as strong compared to Uranium. But then moving on to lower quarters, is it Nightfall Sentinels? I think that's a Game 5, but I think Nightfall just beat that out. I think if you haven't seen Cal and Ares play together yet, I think you'll be shocked when you do. So just keep an eye out for that. And I think Serene Meiji are far stronger than Uranium this season. So I think they'll get a 3-0 sweep there. And I think Serene Meiji keep the momentum with a 3-0 sweep over Nightfall. I think Nightfall's run will just come to, and I think they'll all be very close games, but I just don't see anything. Then, moving back to the upper final, Onka Tizok. I think I've been in VC of Sinksy, and Sinksy said they haven't lost to Tizok this season. I see that run continuing with Onka getting a 3-1. I don't think they need a Game 5. As much as I could see it going to a Game 5, I just think Onka will have it in 4. And then the lower finals, I think Tizok's burst of steam will run out, and I think they'll have to go to a Game 5. I think very close, but I think Serene Meiji will take it in the lower finals, moving them to grand finals versus Onka. But I think I think Serene Meiji will keep that momentum going, and I'd see them winning 4-2. I think Mox, in his old age, might take a bit of time to recharge after the upper final, and then as soon as they get into their beat, I think they're going to get Onka are going to get a 4-0 sweep on Serene Meiji. As soon as they figure out how to beat them, I'm pretty sure it'll be all over for Serene Meiji, and I see Onka, after a bracket reset, being your rival champions.
Okay, so you're continuing in the bracket reset trend. We already had it in Prospect, we already had it in Challenger, you want to see it in Rival, and now taking a look at my prediction, starting obviously here at play-ins, starting lower bracket. As I see Norns sweeping Yoruba, could be maybe one game for Yoruba, I don't see anything else. And afterwards, I do think Nightfall Norns is going to be a game 5 scenario, where Nightfall will edge it out in the end. Anarchy Continuum, don't think it's going to be a sweep. Anarchy will be winning that one, and then they'll face off against Mystics, which they'll lose in a game 4 scenario. Going towards the upper bracket, Anka, Journeyman. Anka is just, in my opinion, too strong of a roster. They'll take it in 4. And Sentinels, this is kind of, for me, like a pick that can be really wrong, but I do believe in the Sentinels roster that if they have the moment, if they just have the vibes, they can create a lot of momentum. Then they'll be close games, but I do see them taking it over Uranium pretty dominantly, and then Anka, Sentinels in the upper bracket going towards playoffs, and then Journeyman, Uranium, Nightfall, and Mystics going towards the lower bracket of those playoffs. And then if the next two, then we have Serene Meiji and Tizok joining them as well. So starting there, I think Anka has a lot of momentum in their favor. Will be struggling a little bit against Serene Meiji, maybe game 1, and then they'll just dominate afterwards. Take it in 4. Tizok against Sentinels. I do see it going in towards the game 5. Sentinels just being a strong roster. Tizok will probably take it off them in the end. And then lower bracket, Nightfall, Journeyman. I think Nightfall is just a little bit too strong there. We'll take it in 4. And then afterwards they will face off against Sentinels, but Sentinels will be too strong for them. So Sentinels will make it through. Mystics losing in game 5 against Uranium. I think the two teams are pretty close. And Uranium, they're looking to bounce back after getting swept by Sentinels. When they bounce back, they'll take it in 5. Afterwards, they'll face off against Serene Meiji. I think Serene Meiji might be a little bit too strong for Uranium there. Close games, no matter what, but I do think Serene Meiji will take it in the end. Sentinels against Serene Meiji then in the lower semis. I think Sentinels are, when the pressure is on, is a stronger roster. And then going towards upper final, I think it's going to be a very close one, game 5. Tizok, in the end, will make it through. And what Kingsman just said is that Anka hasn't lost from Tizok yet, if I rephrase correctly. I think playoffs is just a different scenario where Tizok will step up. Then Sentinels against Anka, close one, but Anka will be taking that one. And then in grand finals, we'll see something of a rematch between Tizok and Anka, but Tizok will be a little bit too strong. And they will take it in 6. No bracket reset here. My prediction for what's going to happen here in Rival. Buddha, curious to hear about yours.
Time for Buddhas. Do I flop or make it? Well, let's find out. As we can see, we'll start with the play-ins to make that lower bracket. Nords versus Yoruba, I put a game 5 here. I said I don't want to leak the situation. That's all down to Kingsman, but I put that game 5 for the reason. And then for Nightfall and Norns, I just think Nightfall are the stronger roster. Obviously, Norns, they've got Gecko, a great player. As a roster, I just don't think they'll be strong enough to take down Nightfall. So I do have Nightfall going through into that lower bracket. Anarchy and Continuum, I've predicted this because I'm pretty sure a while ago, Potter was saying they have to use 2 sub-ups. I predicted this assuming that is correct. If it's not correct, then GG's on my prediction there. That is scuffed. But that's where I predicted that Anarchy game from. Then against Mystics, I just think Anarchy are the stronger roster. So I think they'll take them down over 3-1. But I don't think we'll see a sweep there. Now going up for the upper bracket play-ins here, Anka versus Journeyman. I probably disrespected Journeyman a little bit in my predictions. But Anka, a strong roster all season long. I think though they should win this one. It won't be a sweep, I don't think. If it is, it'll be very, very, very close. But Sentinels and Uranum, with the roster change, I just don't think they're as strong anymore. I don't think they'll go as far. Sentinels, a pretty good roster, probably one of the rosters to make a run out of most of these teams that aren't expected to. So I think Sentinels could be a big upset in this bracket. But going on to playoffs, obviously I've got Onka, Sentinels, Nightfall, and Anarchy. Starting off in the upper semis, Serene, Meiji, and Onka. I've put that in a game 5. That's going to go either way. And I think if Serene win that first series, as you can see, they're taking it all. Then Tizok versus Sentinels, I put a 3-1. Now I'm questioning myself on it by seeing the confidence in the Tizok team against Sentinels, but got to stick to it. I've gone with a 3-1 for Tizok there. Then in the lower round one, Nightfall and Journeyman. This could go either way, hence why it's a game 5. If Journeyman win it, I'm not going to be surprised. It's a game 5 for a reason, but I've just edged that one out for Nightfall. Anarchy and Uranum. I can never say that name. I put this in a game 5. Uranum, I feel like, it's not like it's a terrible roster with the roster change. It's still respectable, but I think they'll keep it close. But Anarchy, I think they just have the edge. They're going into that lower quarters. Nightfall, I've got a 3-1 onto Sentinels. As I said earlier, Sentinels, they will be the team that will surprise people and make a run. But I just predicted this with Nightfall just coming out with full charge against them. Then Onka and lower bracket is just going to be a wild card. It's just going to be demolition at this point. They shouldn't be in the lower bracket, ideally. So I put them to beat Anarchy 3-1. Then Nightfall and Onka. I put Onka in a game 5. Upper final, another game 5. But Serene Major, Axios in alongside with Luke Foss and Pile of Dodge. I've not seen the team play. But if that roster works, they're winning it all. If it works. I've not seen them play, so I'm kind of banking on it a little bit, as you can see. Then in that lower final, Onka and Tizok, another game 5. Serene Meiji with the win.
Well, and beautiful prediction. And I think we have Ark in here as well to talk about his own bracket. Hello, Ark. Take it away right away. Let's talk about your bracket.
Okay, so even though Norns could be under strength for this, I've got them beating Yoruba 3-1. Also got Anarchy beating Continuum 3-2. Next round, I've got Nightfall beating Norns 3-1. I think if league play was going on for 1 or 2 more weeks, then I think Nightfall would have got that 3rd spot over Sentinels. Nightfall have been on a run of 4 wins and 1 draw. So they've been smashing it since the roster change, bringing Ares in. Mystics Anarchy. I've got Mystics winning 3-1, but I do believe in the Anarchy boys. I've seen a couple of the last results in the final weeks of league play. They clutched up to go, I think it was 14-2 in the final 2 weeks to make play-ins. They've also beat Mystics in a scrim 6-1 recently this week. Although scrims don't mean much, it's still a positive result. And then obviously they beat an understrength Norns team 6-2 in scrims as well. So even though I've got them losing here, I'm going off Mystics' league play form prior to week 7. I do think Anarchy could pull off an upset though. In the upper bracket, I've got Onka beating Journeymen 3-2. I do think, despite recent form of Journeymen, they haven't won in 5. I do think Axlos will step up for playoffs, but Onka obviously have only lost once this season, so I've got them winning. And Uranum 3, Sentinels 0. The only sweep I've got, I don't rate Uranum as highly as I did with Ico, but I think they're better than Sentinels at the end of the day. So move on to the bracket. So upper bracket, I've got Serene Meiji losing to Onka 3-2 again. I'm hoping Sinksy watches this, and if he does win, realises why he has been adjusted for the last 2 seasons, because he just plays with challengers on alt accounts. So, I think he's only lost once this season. They've beat the favourites Tizok twice as well. If Cameron was in the Serene Meiji team, I'd totally go all out and say that they'd win, and they'd win the whole thing. But he's not. We've had to replace him with Axios at the last minute because Cameron had an American football tournament put on him on this week. He only found out 3 days ago. So, Onka are going to go through there, I reckon. Tizok will beat Uranum 3-1. Again, I think Uranum's old roster was stronger. Tizok have been the more well-rounded roster out of Rival this season. I think all 4 players contribute instead of just a main roster. And then into the upper final, I've got Onka beating Tizok 3-1. They've already beat Tizok twice. I think it's going to be a third time. Nightfall beat Journeyman 3-1 in the lower bracket. Again, if league play was going on for an extra week or two, I think Nightfall would be in the top 3. And then I think they go on to beat Uranium 3-1 as well. In the other lower round 1 bracket, I've got Mystics beating Sentinels 3-2. Again, this is going off Mystics' pre-week 7 form. They were top of the league for a while, and I think people forget that. And a 40-32 record is quite good, and I just think they've got a better roster than Sentinels. And then in the lower quarters, I've got Serene Meiji to revenge that defeat on Onka and beat Mystics 3-1. Since they finished first in that conference. Lower semi, I've got Meiji beating Nightfall 3-2. I think this will go to a game 5 if it is this match. But I could see either team taking it. Again, it depends if Meiji can actually scrim and work with Axios at a short period of time. But if you do make the lower final, I do believe that we can knock out Tizok 3-1. Again, they've got a solid roster, but it counts on all 4 of them playing well, not just a 3-man roster. And then going into the grand final, again, I've just got Onka beating Meiji 4-2. I don't see them losing any time. They've lost once in league play, and I don't think they'll lose in playoffs if they bring their A game.
Alright, so those are all the rival predictions. Kingsman the only one having a bracket reset, but, you know, we had 2 bracket resets already. Prospect, Challenger, maybe he is right in Rival, maybe he is wrong. Now let's move on to Elite, since we also have the predictions ready for that one. Kingsman, obviously first to you for your Elite predictions.
Well, I'm going to start lower bracket. I have Velocity 3-1ing Bladesmith. This is backed off a very big ego from a certain person who I'm sure everyone's seen in league discussion, called Squirm. I just don't think Bladesmith will expect how Velocity play, and I think that will lead a 3-1. I see Carbo sweeping Andrew. Carbo very strong now with addition of Jax to their roster. I think alongside Riot in 385, that provides a very strong roster in the lower bracket. Then I see Itzcoatl taking Velocity to game 5. There's been some major performers in there this season. Fridays has his good games. The 3 work really well together. So I think they just have it in game 5 over Velocity, and I think Carbo continue their very good run of form and sweep Deception. They've been a bit of an up and down team all season, so they really need to bring their A game if they have a chance. And then I see Holdra Zulu. I see that as a game 5, which Holdra just take. Holdra, obviously, I know the boys, Bondab and Josh. It's the Thanatos roster from last season. They're very strong. They have that chemistry. I think I'll give them the edge. And Fearless Bravo 3-1ing Vanguards. Vanguards have been the draw merchants the past few weeks against teams they probably should have beaten. So I think Fearless Bravo are just missing out on first in that tiebreak, and I think they'll easily get that midweek game. Now we wait for playoffs. As it loads up, there we go. Start with lower bracket. Zulu, I see going down to the lower bracket in 3-1ing. It's Kotal. They are strong, but I think Zulu are just a tad bit stronger. And I think on the day they'll have that extra bit of momentum. Carbo Vanguards, I think that is literally a game 5 coin toss. They've drew. I could see that being a draw if it was league play, but I back Vanguards to take it, obviously with the experience of Sato, Eevee, and Con. They just have the edge over Carbo. And upper bracket, Holdra Temple, that is a game 5 for me all day long. And if I back my boys to bring their A game, they've told me they're fully confident in the playoffs. I have to back them as a game 5 win over Holdra. And I see Fearless Bravo getting a 3-1 over Tigris. That Fearless Bravo side in the last few weeks have been a different side. It's been brilliant to see. I think they get it in game 4 over Tigris. And then moving down, I see Tigris sweeping Zulu. Tigris with Halo are a very strong side. I don't back them down at all. I think they work really well, so I have them 3-0. But I see Temple going down and beating Vanguards. The new Temple roster might not be as strong as the old one, in my opinion, but I still think they don't lose to Vanguards in game 4, and see them beating them in 3-1. I see Temple Tigris. This was literally a coin toss between the two, and I have Temple just taking it because I know I've seen Temple play. They can be quite annoying to deal with. Let's just say that from what I've heard. So I think they just take it in 5. That could go either way. Don't count my word for it. Then I see Fearless beating Holdra 3-1 again, just on the strength of Fearless. I think they'll just prevail in that. I think they'll all be very close games, but we're gonna see there. And I think then Temple continue their lower bracket run. As I said, I think the loss will knock my lads' confidence in the upper finals. I think they just won't be on their best game. I hope they will be. I give every confidence in them, but I just don't think, looking in the time, that they will be. So I see Temple taking that 3-1. I see a game 7. I didn't want to predict the bracket reset because I think Fearless have the eyes to finally get Buddha a trophy. Although he probably won't be playing, he'll probably be working somewhere. He'll get a trophy.
Okay, so Kingsman putting a lot of pressure on Buddha's roster in believing they're gonna win it all. Let's see if the rest of us agrees as well. Time for my prediction, starting with play-ins. Starting lower bracket as always. I think Bladesmith will go 3-1 against Velocity. I think it's gonna be close games, but Bladesmith, I do believe, have the edge. Then Bladesmith will continue face off against Itzkotal. Itzkotal will do the same thing to Placement, what Placement did to Velocity, taking it in 4. I have full hope, full belief in my own boys of Carbo that they're gonna make it through. Maybe a little bit optimistic that they're gonna go 6-0 here. Maybe they might lose a game against Deception, but I do see them sweeping against Anju. Then going to the upper bracket, Huldra against Zulu. I have a lot of faith in your boys, Kingsman, for making it through. Just not going the full distance in 5, just taking it at 4. I think pretty dominant in the final games as well. That they might have to start up a little bit, but once they get going, they'll definitely get going. Fearless Bravo will sweep Vanguards straight down to the lower bracket. And then you have Huldra and Fearless Bravo moving up through the upper bracket. And Vanguard, Zulu, and Skotal Carbo going into playoffs through the lower bracket. And then continuing in the lower bracket, when Skotal meets Zulu, I think Zulu is going to be the stronger one there. And then Carbo against Vanguards. Basically, the other result from Kingsman, he thought, Vanguard's taking it 5, I see Carbo taking it 5. Wouldn't surprise me if it was the other way around, if Vanguards would be the stronger roster out of the two. Kind of a coin toss there. And then upper bracket, Temple, Huldra. I think it's going to be a game 5. I do think Huldra has the edge in the end. Temple, solid roster. Just don't think they're going to edge it just over Huldra. Fearless Bravo, do see them winning in 4 against Tigris. Fearless Bravo just a little bit too strong of a roster. Then you have Tigris, Temple moving down. Tigris going up against Zulu will take it pretty comfortably in 4. Carbo, Temple, also game 5 scenario. With Jax on the roster of Carbo, maybe the addition can lean a little bit more in their favor, but I do think Temple is just a little bit of a stronger roster by itself, that they will win it. Then Temple against Tigris, I think Tigris is just stronger than Temple, so Tigris will take it in 4. Upper bracket is going to be a close one. Fearless Bravo or Huldra in the upper final. I think Fearless Bravo is the stronger from the two there. Will take it in that game number 5. Then you have Tigris, Huldra in a game 5 scenario in the lower final, in which Tigris will take it. Huldra probably still finding their momentum after losing in game 5 against Fearless Bravo. Tigris will use that to their advantage and edge it out in the end. And then in the grand final, I do think Fearless Bravo are just too strong and will do the same thing what they did in the upper semi and just win in 6 games. And then we're going to your bracket, Buddha.
off to mine. Oh, I love seeing this chat. Everyone getting mad. It's actually, I love it. Anyway,
Yeah,
with the lower bracket play-ins first, Bladesmiths and Velocity. It's just bye-bye, Scrum. See you later. Bladesmiths, Lynx, I know you're playing, but you got this little bro. You're going to take that in a game 5, but not against its Kotal. I just think as a roster, their mental's just really good as a roster. They don't get tilted as easy, and I think that will come through as a team, and I think they'll just clutch it through into the playoff lower bracket. In the other play-in day, Andrew and Carbo. I'm sorry, Carbo, but Andrew, if Keza and Calvi are turning up, if they turn up on the day, I think it's just going to come down to how Trax plays. If Trax can turn up and play to his best ability, I think Andrew will be a little bit of a little dark horse run here in the play-ins. Hence why I've got him in there 3-2 on Deception in a game 5. But that's purely expecting that Andrew come on top form. If they don't, then Deception are for sure will take that series, as I think people have kind of undervalued Deception in these predictions a bit on results. But in the upper bracket for the first day, Holdra and Zulu. I think Zulu is a very good roster, but Holdra, as Kingsman said, it's just got the chemistry. At the end of the day, on a playoff day, if you've got that chemistry, as long as you turn up on the day, you're going to get results. So that's just a 3-1 for me. Nothing more to it. Bravo and Vanguard, I was stuck on this for about 20 minutes. I as much as I want, my gut was saying we make a lower bracket run, but I believe in my boys in a game 5, and I believe in myself to perform for that series. But Holdra and Bravo going through in the upper bracket. It's Kotal and Andrew going through in the play-ins, as we'll see Vanguards and Zulu go to that lower bracket. So starting off in the upper semis, I will have the rosters Temple and Holdra. I think Temple are just a stronger roster. They'll just take that in a game 5, but that would be a great series to watch. Bravo and Tigris, I just got to back my boys. It's a 3-1, simple as that. Lower round 1, Zulu and its Kotal. Zulu, they've been on decent form, as in the past few weeks of league play. I think they'll turn up here. Game 5 victory for Zulu. Vanguards and Andrew. I mean, Vanguards is just one of those rosters. They will be a good team. In a lower bracket run, they will be a team you will have to take them seriously, and I don't think Andrew just have enough for it. Even if they play peak performance, Vanguards are taking that one. Lower quarters, Tigris 3-1 onto Zulu. At the end of the day, that one's just a team diff. Tigris are just a better roster. Vanguards and Holdra in a game 5. I'm sorry, Kingsman. I've disrespected your team here quite a bit, but I'm just backing Vanguards. I think it's a very solid roster, but not solid enough against Tigris in the lower semis. I will put Tigris in a game 5 there. Upper final, game 5. If it's not Bravo to win it, it's Temple. I'm just backing my team at the end of the day. Got to back my own boys. Game 5 there. Lower final, Temple 3-1 onto Tigris. If Temple are playing good, they're beating everyone, to be honest. And as I said, if Bravo aren't to win it, it is Temple. But I put my boys in a game 7 in the grand final.
Wow. So three here already think Fearless Bravo is gonna win it. Now, Ark, onto your bracket. Let's see what you think.
Who's missing on the plane, Buddha?
Ethereal.
Okay. I've been looking at the spreadsheet with the information I've received in the last 10 minutes, debating whether to change things. And the only thing I've changed is going from a game 4 to a game 5 with Fearless Bravo. I'm tempted to give Vanguards the edge, but I mean, you've got an X1900 peak and Jawa, who used to be SSL in ones to carry you anyway. So, what's a little ethereal missing? But yeah, we'll start with the lower bracket. Velocity Bladesmiths. This is going to be a close one, but I don't get where the confidence is coming from a team that has only won 4 out of 18 series this season. I mean, everyone in league discussion is saying Squirm and Frank are going to win it. Frank's the enemy saying he's going to win it from the lowers. You've won 4 series all season. Bladesmiths are taking this one 3-1. Andrew versus Carbo. Carbo haven't won a game since week 6 when they got rid of Josh. I think Josh was a vital part of that team. And yeah, I can't see them winning. Andrew have got a really strong team now with Caldi and Sky and Trax, who won last season, if I believe, on Serene. So I think they are going to take that one. If you've not won in 3 weeks, then it's not the best form to go into playoffs with. Next round, it's Catil versus Bladesmiths. I've got Itzcatil winning 3-2. I believe in Friday. I do think they've got a solid roster. I do think it will be a game 5 though, because Bladesmiths are a tough opponent. Obviously, Severance went downhill once releasing Exile, although he didn't even play. I don't think we were using FAs all season. Deception, yes, I do think they've been undervalued this season, especially going into playoffs. They've won 40 games and lost 28, I think it is, which is a good record. But I do believe in the Andrew lower bracket run here. They've got a really solid roster. Huldra Zulu, I've just seen recently in the comments that they might be playing a sub. So Zulu have won every series since the end of week 6. So if I could redo these, I would maybe go Zulu in a game 5.
Oh,
But I do still think that Huldra do have a chance, and Raza is a good sub to have. So I've kept it as 3-2. So hopefully Huldra can make that run. But I think a lot of people have discontinued Zulu, much like they have Deception, because they've won every series since end of week 6 at the end of the day. Fearless Bravo, Vanguards, I've already said. Vanguards are a draw merchant. It's going to go to game 5, I think, and then someone is going to win. Maybe if I had more time to think on this after getting the information, I would go Vanguards, but I'm going to stick with Buddha, because I do think Fearless are going to win it all, as you'll see on the next bracket. So I've got Temple beating Huldra 3-2. I was stuck on this game for quite a while, to be honest, and I just think it comes to who is the best all-round roster, and I just think Temple just nick it. Since Wolfie's come in as well, Wolfie is a really good player, but again, it could depend on his mental in game as well. If they go down 1 or 2-0, then GG's. Tigris and Fearless Bravo. I've got Fearless Bravo winning 3-1. Tigris have been a really strong roster all season, but I mean, like I said earlier, you've got a 1900 peak from like a year or 2 ago. You got Ethereal, who should be back for playoffs, and then you've got Jowett, who's been SSL in ones. I just can't see anyone beating them on the day. In the lower bracket, I've got Iskatil 1, Zulu 3. Again, Zulu should win at least a game in playoffs after winning 6 in a row. And then I've got Andrew beating Vanguards 3-2. Again, I don't like betting against Sato, but I do think Andrew's roster now is a much stronger than it was in league play. In the next round, I've got Zulu losing to Tigris 3-2. Again, Tigris have been solid all season. So I just think it will go all the way. A lot of game 5s there, to be honest. I've got Andrew beating Huldra in a game 5 as well. Again, I just think Andrew's roster is impressive as an all-round three-man roster, whereas Huldra, although strong, I think they're just missing something below these two teams that I've predicted them against. Upper final, I've got Fearless Bravo beating Temple 3-1. Tigris beating Andrew 3-1. Heading into the lower final, Tigris just inching it against Temple. This could have gone either way as well, but I just believe that Tigris have been much stronger this season. And in the final, I've got Fearless Bravo 4, Tigris 2. But the only thing that I doubt here is the play-in. Can Fearless Bravo win the play-in now?
Alright, so all of us predict Fearless Bravo is gonna win in the end, but obviously, I see Kingsman sitting there, just thinking, "Oh no, what's going on?" Kingsman, what's going through your head?
I'm thinking about my predictions. All the elite egos in chat are making me question my elite predictions.
Never listen to egos, Kingsman. There's a command. There's a command in RSC with question mark. Cry about it. Just go and post.
Oh yeah,
that
yeah. You know what? I'm gonna do that.
If it's Frank and Squirm, just send them that they've only won 4 series all season.
Yeah, honestly, tempting.
Alright, so also with the beautiful knowledge, well, that's it for our RSCast. We did the recap for Prospect Challenger. We did our predictions here for Rival Elite. Kingsman, Buddha, Ark, you guys have any final thoughts?
Just good luck to everyone playing in the playoffs. I mean, we've seen this weekend how much of a fun playoffs it's been. 2 bracket resets, 2 wins for Green Phoenix. So it's down to the franchises now to actually take the mantle off Green Phoenix and someone put up a fight for franchise of the season, because at the minute, looks done and dusted.
Definitely didn't mention that when Challenger won it. I didn't say they'd win it or anything. Nope, that you didn't hear that from me. But yeah, now that Green Phoenix can't win a tier, they're not in the rival or elite play-ins. We'll get to see another franchise get a tier win. And obviously, if you're in chat, which a lot of elite players are, rival wasn't much. They all thought thought we were there. Elite, there's been hell of discussion, but honestly, if you're gonna cry about it in chat, at least go and prove us wrong on the field. That's all I'm gonna say.
I mean, if the predictions are what they are, then I'm hoping they don't prove it wrong because it's for me. But I'm scared. I'm getting PTSD because last time everyone predicted Fearless, they choked. So I'm worried.
That's why everyone's done it.
Yeah.
If we lose to Vanguard, I do believe they'll make a lower bracket run though. Like, it's Ethereal, it's Brain, it's Jowett. They should be fine. But anyway, it's just a massive thank you to everyone in chat. Obviously, 80% being ego players, but either way, it's still a pleasure to see the reactions we get from our predictions. It's fueling to us, you know. We like to see the anger and the rage. But as Kingsman said, if you don't like it, just go prove us wrong, but just don't prove my team wrong. Okay, thank you. I need a trophy.
Cry about it.
Well, all of us here thinking Buddha is gonna win this tier, but he just doesn't like the pressure. Can't imagine that one. But yeah, obviously, I agree with what Kingsman said. If you don't like what we all predict, prove us wrong, because that's what play-ins and playoffs is all about. You can just prove everyone how good you are. Maybe you didn't have the best record during league play. You still made it through. You still have a chance to prove it. And before we go off, obviously, big shout out to all the sponsors that help us out. Gamers Beat Cancer, Panthera for the tournament. Gamers Apparel for our beautiful merch, badass, helping out behind the scenes together with Inside Design, Brick and Brack. And obviously, the biggest sponsor we have is Rule 1. Yeah, for us, we're done here on RSCast this week. Make sure everyone to tune in this week as we have, obviously, rival and elite predictions starting tomorrow. You'll probably see all of us on the caster as well to bring you all the action. There are going to be a lot of awesome matchups. We hope to see you there, and otherwise we'll see you next week for another recap.
The RS sign-ups.
Yeah, Ark actually, before we forgot, Ark said it perfectly on time. ERS, the new season is starting. Make sure to sign up, as the sign-ups go live tonight, or are already live if I'm correct. So if you want to participate in another awesome...
Already live, just populating the database at the minute, so it could be like a day or two before people get accepted.
Alright, so if you want to play in another awesome league besides RSC, make sure to sign up for ERS. Like Ark said, there might be a little bit slow, maybe 1 or 2 days before everything is up and running, but sign-ups are live, so make sure you're gonna be participating there. And now, if I didn't forget anything, we'll see you either this week in the stream for Play-ins Playoffs, and otherwise next week for another RSCast.
Oh, yeah, everyone cries.
No,